Yay, yoga. Let's bow. Okay, so earlier I was feeling like a little bit in my head. I just like couldn't shake it. And then I did this um block under the armpit thing and it totally like made me feel motivated and happy and really awesome again. So let's start here because I think it's always a good time, even if it's a hard time. So let's put the block right underneath either armpit. Find that juicy spot. Oof, it's really tight when you start. If you have bigger blocks, sometimes the cork blocks can be really hard with these, but the foam blocks are nice. So you could always add like a little cushion on top of it if it's a little rough. But we'll breathe, let the head kind of relax, let the neck relax, and just feel that pressure right under the armpit, kind of underneath the scapula too. Like the whole shoulder gets a massage here. And just watch the effects. Just feel what it does. Does it constantly feel kind of sticky and uncomfortable? Or is that slowly fading and turning into something a little bit different? You can close your eyes and just feel. Noticing what's coming up in the quiet, the mental stories, the physical stories, and see if we can wrangle the mind and come to a sweeter place, a place of stillness. What does it feel like now? Same, different, more intense, less intense? Just noticing how this is affecting your body. That should do it. Let's start to walk ourselves back onto the palms. Just straightening the arms for a moment. The legs are still out to the side. Just kind of feel that big wide gap now underneath your armpit. Whew, there's a lot of space there now. Just feeling the echoes. Noticing what it's doing to the brain. If there's any whoosh of brightness or some kind of tingling sensation. And then coming through to center, just kind of washing it away. Let the arms just sway in the wind. Feel the breeze against your fingertips. This is a very playful motion. Feels very childlike, and it always brings me a little bit of joy to just be like, wee. So enjoy this. Let it feel good. Slowing it down gradually, ending the momentum. Come to stillness for a moment. Just feel. Tuning into sensation. Tuning in to the bodily experience. What do you feel and where do you feel it? And we'll start to transition now to the other side. Grabbing the block and finding that juicy spot again underneath the opposite armpit. It's kind of hooked underneath the scapula very, very slightly, but not the part that's like jutting out at the bottom. It's just like the armpit's hovering over it, but there's part of the sides of the ribs that are kind of connected to it too. Whatever you feel like is the right spot, it's definitely the right spot. So trust that. Noticing if the jaw is holding any unnecessary tension. Letting the face get soft. Starting to let the edges of you get a little blurry. Just opening up the space. Dissolving any separateness between us and the outside world, space around us. Open, luminescent, free, soft, gentle body. Just feeling what's changing. Maintaining a sense of stillness in the body and in the thoughts. Moving beyond the thoughts, behind the thoughts, into a sense of spaciousness, openness. less than a minute more. See if we can handle it. I find that the more I do this, the easier it gets. So even if it seems kind of difficult at first, I think with practice and time, it gets a lot more interesting. Good. Take your front hand to help you push on up. Climb onto both palms and just straighten the arms, kickstand them out. Feel that open space. Oh, there's a lot of blood rushing back into the arm area, up the ribs. There's like a tingling. Maybe you even feel the echo of your hand pressed against the side of your head. Just noticing what was once there, how it's different now. Great. And we'll come back to center. Little cross-legged position, and we'll just do a little bit of swaying again. You can just let your arms kind of knock into your body a little bit. Let the tapping just be kind of therapeutic in a way. Letting that go, slowing it down, stop. And we will now try a half saddle. So for this one, I recommend the ramp setup. So that would be like a block that's flat and a block that is slanted, and perhaps some kind of bolster or a pillow would be good to just rest on top of that. And so this is the whole deal that's going to be behind you, supporting you. And we'll come to sit with one leg out. Let's start with the left leg long, and then the right leg is bent. You can have your heel right outside of your sits bones. You can always place something underneath your bottom if it doesn't feel like it's getting quite down to the ground. And then maybe here is good. We can just hang out with one leg bent and sitting upright, but you could also maybe find that base of support behind you and see if that feels okay today. If it's too much sensation, you can always pile up some more things so that you're not as far back. But this pose is really good for the stomach meridian, and I believe the large intestine, the spleen. This is good for the spleen and the stomach meridians. And these are good. The spleen is a detoxer, stomach is digestion. So we can imagine that our bodies here are feeling purified, and we can digest and release things. Not just the physical food, but maybe digesting the weekend, digesting current events, processing some emotions. Without going into the storyline, maybe just feel that your body is processing right now. We're in spring, finally, yay! So we can transition here. You can feel the meridian line being tugged at because it's on the top of the thigh. And here we're getting that nice stretch in that big muscle that's right at the top of the thigh. You can feel it pulling down on the knee a little bit. Hopefully it's not searing pain or extreme sharp pain, and this is just a nice little tug. You can kind of feel the edge of your skin. We won't be here very much longer. Trying to arrive in that sense of stillness again, openness, allowing what needs to be processed to naturally do so. A little bit less than a minute here. Breathing softly. Feeling some brightness in the belly area. Some things are being charged up inside here. The longer we stay, the more the chi can flow in different directions. Okay, so getting out of this is fun. I probably am not directing it the best way possible, but I think it's helpful to just kind of find your hands and make sure that the back, the lower back, isn't the part that we're falling into, but we can ease ourselves up with the strength of our arms, taking care of the lower back, bending the knees, rolling to one side and bringing that right leg back around. And then just taking a moment, perhaps there's some kind of movement that's calling you right now, but maybe we can be still and we can see how one foot looks kind of red. The right foot's a little bit red from being compressed, and the left foot is looking kind of paler, less stimulated. Something's happening. What does it feel like in the right leg versus the left? So let's match these toes up now and bend the left leg, heel kind of outside of the sits bones if you can, just on the outer edge of the hip. And staying upright or just gradually lowering layer by layer until you feel like here's where I want to stop. And you're more than welcome to go lower. It's possible you could reach your whole back to the ground. Oh, I'm offering the ramp because it's nice. Feeling that gentle tug from the tip of the knee, and it goes all the way up the thigh, through the pelvic bowl, up the psoas muscles that connect the top of the thigh to the abdomen. And you can feel that line connecting all the way up towards the ribs. Little nets, little networks inside our bodies, just gently being pulled, stimulated. And all the little cells inside are rushing around, moving freely, generating new molecules full of oxygen, full of blood, clearing out the pathways of the toxins. Anything that needs to be released. I just felt something move in my belly. I don't know if you're experiencing something similar. There's something happening. Just a little bit less than a minute here. Breathing into the space, blurring the lines of the body. Okay, so again, just finding your hands, finding your elbows, kind of anchoring them into the ground to push you up, taking good care of the lower back, unbending those knees, and reach your foot in front of you. Take a look, wiggle your toes. Noticing any differences here. And now we'll come flipping over. We'll go into a puppy pose. So pushing your props over to the side. We'll go back to those soon. Finding a tabletop position. We'll do some cat-cows first before we go into a full puppy. So we're just undulating the spine, dropping the belly, lifting the belly, back and forth with the breath. Maybe even some little barrel rolls. We can place a circle underneath the spine, and the spine is just revolving around that circle. And the other way. Your whole spine is just a jump rope or something. Maybe some lateral movements, looking back towards the toes. And then we'll just come back to center. Feel that you're planted on the ground. You feel supported and sturdy. And then we'll walk the hands a couple handprints forward. And lowering the heart down, lowering the head down. The chest doesn't have to come all the way to the floor, but the hips should stay up. Feeling the stretch in the spine, in between the shoulder blades. And the arms are also getting a good stretch here. Activating the meridian lines on the bottoms of the arms. Trying to find a stillness again. This is another pose that when you do it more than once a week, you start to see a difference. It really gets a lot more interesting. If it becomes too much, you can push your hips back into a child's pose. Let's see if we can stay here and become curious about the sensation if it's not too much. And to get out of this, just push into the hands. Kind of go the reverse of the direction that we came, walking the hands back into tabletop. We'll just come to sit on our hips now, on our bottoms. And just take a moment to feel in this seated position. Tingling sensation or blood flow in the back of the arms, in the mid upper back. Perhaps in the chest, the heart feels softer, like you got a massage. Cool. And so now this is another one of what I consider a little bit more difficult of poses, but we'll find out what it's all about. Let's use a blanket though for some support underneath the hips. So I have my blanket kind of in like a medium height. It's not like too thick, but it's got like a good amount of thickness. This is gonna go underneath my butt here. And I'm gonna extend my legs out in a V shape. So we're in a dragonfly, but the hips are slightly raised so that the pelvis isn't tucked back or rolled too much forward. You've got like a nice little lift here. And you can spread out the legs as far as you want. They could be a small V or a big V. And this is the part that is a little bit challenging. We'll add a twist. So we'll twist to the left, kind of grabbing onto the outer left thigh with the right arm, and then taking the left hand and then kind of nuzzling the fingers towards that right hip crease. You don't have to be exact. And we're not pushing or pulling or forcing, So we're finding this upright position and somewhat of a twist with the arms. The ribs are a little bit rotated, but already I'm noticing that the tops of my thighs like to really, really engage here. So maybe softening that slightly. Relax the muscles of the face. Notice what this pose is doing to the mind. Are we breathing? Are we trying to escape this moment? Keep returning to the softening of the legs, softening the face, soften the arms. Keep the spine erect but gentle. It should be bright and wakeful, but not urgent and hard. Perhaps it's getting a little bit warmer. And we can come back to center. Let the arms go. Use your hands to lift your knees up and just come into a little hug here. Let the head and neck drop. You can almost rest your forehead on your knees. Maybe yours touch. My forehead doesn't quite meet my knees. Feeling the difference of this pose, how we're tightly compressed here, as opposed to open, twisted. And opening back up like all the little sprouts springing up out of the ground. It's springtime. And then just finding your base of support again. Maybe giving the thighs a little bit of a rub. Hey, you can let go here. I feel your tension. You're okay. Yeah, I definitely feel a lot of gripping here. So this massage can feel really good. Just a little shake of the muscle off the bone. Now we'll twist to the right. So crossing the left arm over, kind of hooking it around that right thigh, letting the right hand come towards the left hip crease, and just looking towards the right now. This pose is also really good for the spleen and stomach. We're crossing into the same threshold here. Noticing any spontaneous gripping. Trying to let that go. Finding space, finding softness, openness. Maybe your brain is yelling at you. You want to get out of the pose. It's not comfortable. We can just notice those thoughts and be brave enough to stay as long as we're not in extreme excruciating pain. Making friends with it, making friends with a challenging situation. Enjoying the lovely tunes from outdoors. It's always a pleasure to hear the people living. A little bit longer here. We can do it. Keeping the spine long, tall, almost like the head has a crown on it, and you're pushing your head up into the crown, up into the sky with dignity. But notice if those thighs want to join you in the movement upwards, and just let those thighs take a break. And we can slowly twist on back around. Grab the knees. Tuck yourself into a little ball. Great, letting that go. Taking a moment to just sit and feel again. Feel your heartbeat. Letting that go. And if you've still got this kind of ramp set up, maybe it needs to be refreshened or fluffed up again. But let's just use our ramp here to take a fish. And
Yay!
My favorite, especially when it's like this. It's just like, this is super loungy. But any kind of fish you want, if it's just blocks or if it's just one bolster. But hey, everybody deserves a little ramp rest. And if you still got a blanket nearby, the weight of the blanket could feel really nice on your belly if it's not too warm. Maybe kind of incubating all of the chi that we just stirred up in our stomach and spleen. Feeling the whole body decompress. We did some challenging poses today, so we can really just allow the fish to be rejuvenating, regenerative, restorative, finding our sense of spaciousness again. And I heard a really nice poem about stillness that I'll read to you. It's called Go Deeper by Chris McCombs. Go deeper, past thought into silence, past silence into stillness, deeper still, past stillness, into the heart. Now, let the love consume whatever is left of you. It's kind of short, so I'll read it again. Go deeper, past thought into silence, past silence into stillness, deeper still, past stillness into the heart. Now, let the love consume whatever is left of you. Noticing the space in between the eyebrows, the space of the jaw where the jaw meets the hairline. And just finding a little bit more space there. You can kind of smooth out those areas with your imagination and feel it physically manifest and ripple through your whole being. Staying with the stillness for a little bit longer. So you can stay in fish for Shavasana, or you can remove the props one at a time. Come flat on your back, or take any final movements that are showing up right now that you'd like to go for it. Doing a whole body scan here. Just feeling the skin. Noticing where the skin feels kind of tight. Perhaps just bringing a light touch to those areas. Allow the skin to soften its grip. Feeling the weight of the body sinking into the ground or the support beneath you. And anything that your mind is working on, just kind of gently fall away and find that spaciousness once more. Start to deepen the breath. Maybe rocking the back of the head side to side. If you're looking left and right, you can just feel the back of the head rolling against the floor. Rolling the shoulders from wherever you are. And curling up into a little ball on the side. Fetal position. Give yourself a great big hug. Enjoy it. Receive it. To sit, to close together. Touching into your own heart space. Feeling a sense of gratitude. And sending a wish of wellness to all beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be at peace. And you can join me to bow to close.
Thanks, Sadie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.